depending on how successful your team is, it can be a major determinant to how people receive what you have to say or what you are selling as a business. So give them the power to be the dreamer. Don't just say your story, but also equip your story's listeners. Speaking about your internal circle, equip them with the voice and let them know that they also have the tool to not just, be listeners to your story, but also achievers. I cannot count how many times I have felt a certain pull to people after listening to their stories. It's just so magnetic. You just are pulled by their stories. Something inside of you is endeared to this person after listening to their stories. So that's like another reason why I would always like say to people, if you are going to be sharing a story, make sure that it's authentic, make sure that it's who you are, make sure that it's real, it's raw, is who you are, and it's not embellished. Because when we talk about businesses, when we talk about a founder, the first thing that really comes to most of our minds is really, okay, my customers, okay, the target market, okay, I want to get increase, I want to have more sales, I want to have more collaborations. If you're on LinkedIn, I want to have more connections, I want to have more engagement. It's really about the people rather than the internal factors that are also really important to every business. Because I believe if you're a founder, then you are running your own business, or you are maybe head of a company of somebody else, but the bottom line is you are heading a business. And I think that that's the most important thing in anyone's story, really, is how are you able to motivate people with your story.
Hi, and thank you for checking out this short clip from Obehi Podcast. I'm Obehi Ewanfoh, the host of the Obehi Podcast. This short clip was created from a full episode where we dive deep into this conversation. To see the entire video, all you need to do is to click on the link in the description of this video. Now, while you are there, I want to share something with you quickly. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract the right audience, leveraging the power of storytelling? Now pay attention. I'm currently working on a signature program to help you own your story and stand out for the competition. It's a 5-step journey to help reshape your professional and business narrative so you can drive success and stand out in the competition. And in less than 90 days. The link is what you see on your screen, academy.aclasses.org/story. Now this is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument that is known to man. And this is what this could mean to you. You could either choose to own your story and leverage it to amplify your message and whatever you represent in this world, or some other person could own that story. The choice is yours. So why not take advantage of your story and use it wherever you are, whether you are in business environment or you are a professional individual who want to be able to build your influence and leave a legacy behind because you represent something. You are owning your story. You are somebody whose story is important. So the choice again is yours. Now let's get started with this short clip.
Let's go straight into today's conversation. So from my own understanding of a founder's story, I would describe it as a sort of narration of the founder, right? So it includes the highs, the lows, the wins, the losses. It's everything that has made the founder be who he is or she is, and everything that has made the founder excel in the career path and business. And I think that that's something that I want to point out. It includes not just the wins, but also the losses. And a lot of the times I found that people focus on one part of it without balancing it. So yes, some people want to have the pity story, which only highlights the losses. Although that is essential in storytelling, I always strive for balance. Because not only do you want to be relatable, you also want to motivate people. And I think that that's the most important thing in anyone's story, really, is how are you able to motivate people with your story? Are you such a downer that every time people read your story, they leave even feeling less like sad about the day and they just don't feel the need to even go on? Or are you also putting a bit of motivation in your story to say, listen, like I've gone through what I've gone through, but here's where I am today and here's how you can also excel in your career path. I believe in having that balance. I believe in not just focusing on the highs, but also focusing like on the lows and bringing it to a blend where people can have a takeaway from your story, where they're able to take something from it, and whatever that means to them, that's good. But just, have that at the back of your mind when you're writing your founder's story. I cannot count how many times I have felt a certain pull to people after listening to their stories. It's just so magnetic. You just are pulled by their stories. Something inside of you is endeared to this person after listening to their stories. You just feel like, oh, I now understand why you do what you do. And for Mr. Obehi today, this is a perfect example of what I was just about to say. From his story, I feel like I now understand why he goes after everything that he wants to go after. Like, he's very dogged about his goals, and I can see why. So that's like another reason why I would always like say to people, if you are going to be sharing a story, make sure that it's authentic, make sure that it's who you are, make sure that it's real, it's raw, is who you are, and it's not embellished. I'll get to that very shortly, but try and make the story very authentic. Try. I say try because I know that it's not easy to be vulnerable. I also struggle with vulnerability, especially online. Coming from like an African home, it's really tough to to wear your hat on the sleeve. We're told to not express ourselves. For a lot of households, I'm not going to generalize. And so it's embedded in the culture where a lot of people would rather not express themselves because it's seen as a sign of weakness. And that's why we have a lot of people who struggle with mental health and are shy to talk about it. But like I said, that might be another conversation for another day. So don't be ashamed to share your story. Don't be ashamed to wear your heart on the sleeve, but also find the balance, like I said in the beginning. Now, to the conversation on whether or not people take action after hearing your story, I think that's very subjective to who's listening and who's taking something from your story. However, there's little tips and tricks that you would need for people to make that next step. Because one thing that I know is very prevalent on LinkedIn is a lot of people listen to your story, read your story, and might drop a comment, might engage, or might go about their days. But if you want to make real change, real move, then there's certain elements that you would want to include in your story. Like I said, there are a lot of things that I feel like we can talk about in storytelling and ways to go about it and how to write it. But I feel like we've had like several audio events where we've spoken about like just the way it should be structured. And so I feel like I would be reverting. Also, I have my DMs open. If that's something that you're interested in, feel free to reach out to any one of us who are co-hosts, because we're well equipped in that regard to help out with structure. But I also know that everybody here, especially my co-hosts, will be talking about the external part of the business, which are the target market. But I wanted to bring it somewhere closer because I felt like, okay, everyone's going to do justice to that, and I trust that they're going to do justice to that. Because when we talk about businesses, when we talk about a founder, the first thing that really comes to most of our minds is really, okay, my customers, okay, the target market, okay, I want to get, increase. I want to have more sales. I want to have more collaborations. If you're on LinkedIn, I want to have more connections. I want to have more engagement. It's really about the people rather than the internal factors that are also really important to every business. Because I believe if you're a founder, then you are running your own business, or you are maybe head of a company of somebody else. But the bottom line is you are heading a business. So let's focus on the internal factors. Let's focus on the internal stakeholders. That's what I'm going to talk about today.
Thank you for checking out this video. Are you getting enough value from it? You see, this video was created for the purpose of adding value to you. So if this video make any sense to you, let me know in the comment section below. I'm interested in understanding what you take away from this video and if it makes sense to you, so we can provide more. Now let's return to the video.
So how can you use your founder story to motivate your immediate team, your immediate business circle? Because that also happens to be a struggle. A lot of the times business owners can not fully get their team to buy into their values or buy into the story and also have that motivation to push the company forward. And we'll all agree if we say that if you cannot address your immediate business circle, you're going to have issues addressing the external circle, the external people who are your market, your target market, your customers. So there's a lot of work that should be done internally. And so one way that I would say a founder can use their story to motivate their team is really putting everything on the table, like putting all the cards on the table. And I already spoke about this in the beginning. Being as authentic and as real and as truthful as possible is saying to them, listen, this is why I did what I did and this is where we're at today. Now, that's not a guarantee that people would necessarily be motivated by that, but it can help, right? And you want to have something that leads to at least an increase in motivation in your team. Because like I said, depending on how successful your team is, it can be a major determinant to how people receive what you have to say or what you are selling as a business. So give them the power to be the dreamer. Don't just say your story, but also equip your story's listeners. I'm speaking about your internal circle. Equip them with the voice and let them know that they also have the tool to not just, be listeners to your story, but also achievers. So you want to say to them, listen, I can also give you ideas of tools that I used, maybe courses that I took, maybe the people that I, spoke to. It might not be like the names, but just saying, look, this were the things that I did, this were the structures that I followed, and this is where I am. This is what got me to where I am today. Is giving them the ability to see that their dreams can be achieved. So not just selling your story for the sake of, but also equipping them to say, listen, you can be where I am at, and this is how you can do that. Another way is to make them see the possibility in them achieving something for themselves, because everybody's goals are different. But when you equip your employees with the tools, when you make them know that it is possible, when you strip them of the impossibility and you're saying to them, it's very possible to dream, it's very possible to achieve your dreams, that would really motivate them to want to work. Many times I've met business owners who have teams whose only motivation is the pay. Where is the loyalty? Where is the quality of work? That cannot be influenced by just money. That comes from giving them not just the tools, but also making them see that it's possible to achieve all their dreams, and also positioning yourself as a business that is interested in your employees' growth. Another thing that I will say is that, like I said in the beginning, there is no guarantee that doing this would immediately make them be more effective or be more jolted up to want to work. However, it can increase the team's, just general spirit and general drive and push to want to achieve your business goals. Stories can be very effective if used well. I've just painted an example of how you can use your founder's story to motivate your internal circle, your internal business circle. Imagine what that can do for your external business. So I just wanted to touch on the need for focusing on our internal stakeholders as much as our customers, because I believe, just like I said in the beginning, if you are able to figure that out and get that kicking, every other thing would flow easily. There would be a flow, there would be a structure, and then there would be employees who want to see your business win. I really, really hope that this is helping somebody out there listening to me. And like I always say, my DMs are open for questions, conversations. I love when people reach me and continue the conversations from where I stop. It makes me feel like, okay, people are listening to me. So feel free to pop me a message. Let's take this conversation further. And what can I say, Mr. Obehi? It's always a pleasure to be here. Also, it's also a pleasure to be here with an amazing team. We do a lot of work behind the scenes, and I always love when it sort of reflects in the people that join and the feedback that we get. So thank you all so much, and I cannot wait to hear what everyone else has to say.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anna. That is beautiful. That is really beautifully packed and put together. It's a bomb. Thank you. I appreciate that.